Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I am so excited I'm like, ooh, I feel like there's a topic I really want to cover today. And I did go on Instagram actually, and I think I'm gonna start doing this a little bit more to try and get your input on certain things that you might want to hear, because it does help. But a lot of the time, like I feel like on the weekends, like I start to kind of get intuitively what I should talk about. And so I do try to go with that as much as possible because, as we know, sometimes that's for a reason. But I did get a few requests. So, midheaven, Virgo full moon, and the astrological new year. So, two of those are actually going to be up on my YouTube channel. So, I will save those for there. But I will do the midheaven, because I think that that's something that can be very beneficial and helpful to talk about. And it's one of my faves. So we will definitely do that. But in the comment section below, if there's something that you're like burning, like you want to hear about, I want to give you guys, you're part of the Patreon community. So I want to give you the opportunity to have the ideas. You're kind of like the trailblazers, sort of speak. And I want you guys to kind of have the first um, peek at that. So, something also say as well, some of you noticed that I did the moon stuff for you guys last week, and then I turned it into a bit of a course for other people to buy. And that's just so I'm just kind of diversifying. But my intention is always to give you guys that information first here on this platform. And if I ever offer a one off course, I will give you guys either a discount code or a link to join. So that's the perks of being in Patreon, which is awesome. And just my way of saying thank you for being here. So, anyway, let's get into this week's Cosmic Classroom. I have my coffee and I like this feels like good. Like, I hope you guys, wherever you are, maybe you have a wine, maybe you have whatever, you make your own rules. You're in your own house. Okay. So today, what I really felt called to talk about is Chiron again. And I know we've already talked about Chiron in Cancer. So you guys have a bit of background knowledge on what Chiron is. But specifically today, I felt called to talk about Chiron in Aries. And the reason why is because, well, Chiron is in Aries, and I'm going to show you guys this. And you'll be able to see where it's transiting in your charts. I'm going to show you that as well. But it's playing a big role within our society at the moment, and it's going to come into effect even more so as we move into May to October, because Jupiter will be in Aries where Chiron is. So it's going to expand a lot of those things. Now, you guys also might know some people who have Chiron in Aries. If you're practicing reading other people's charts, if you have clients that you work with on a basis of supporting them, I think knowing Chiron can actually really help you, especially let's say you're a coach or you do mentoring or maybe counseling, whatever it might be. If you're helping people on an emotional level, knowing their Chiron can be super helpful. And also knowing the Chiron at the moment can be very helpful as well. So, Chiron is in Aries at the moment. Let me show you the chart. So I'm just using the astro.com one, the chart at the moment. And so let me just zoom in and I'll show you. So here's Chiron in Aries and it's at 11 degrees. So um, anytime a planet is in a sign, it's got to go from 0 to 29 degrees. So as you can tell, like Chiron's already been in Aries for quite a while. It's going to be here for much longer. So it's a long transit. And I don't know the exact dates off the top of my head, but I know it is quite a while. So we still have a long way to go in terms of this. But what does it mean to have Chiron in Aries collectively? Let's break this down. Chiron is our wounded healer, right? Okay. So it's a key. It unlocks certain things within us that we need to really feel free. Um, and it almost like unlocks our wounds, and it's uncomfortable because all of those things can connect to our karmic past lives, our lineage, this life, all the things that we kind of talked about with Chiron and Cancer. But when it's in Aries, we take what is Chiron and then we take what is Aries. Aries is about the self. It's the relationship to ourselves. It's who we are, who we identify with. So Chiron in Aries is where do we not feel safe, or where do we feel unheard, or where do we feel like we can't be ourselves? Now, if you look collectively at the moment, there is a lot of emphasis on people really wanting to be seen as themselves. And I'm going to tread here with, I'm still working on my wording in a lot of ways that is super inclusive, because I think that that's part of this. Like, you need to learn and educate yourself, um, while also keeping in mind that there are spectrums of polarity, right? And it's just like with any sign, we have a higher and lower frequency. So, what I'm trying to say here is Chiron and Aries, collectively, a lot of folks are feeling like, I am not feeling seen, or I want to make it feel like this is me, and that's that Aries, like, chest up, like, this is who I am. And there is nothing wrong with that. And I'm not excused from this, because shows up very prevalent in my own life as well. um but for all of us, we're experiencing this somewhere in our charts. We're experiencing this as a collective. And I think there's a few examples of what you can look at right now within society, whether it be, we're learning about new pronouns, how people want to be known and seen as, and how they want to be accepted as within society. And there can be a side to this that is beautiful and powerful and invites in this, like, whoa, that, like, confidence of Aries, while also on the other side of that, there can be a self-righteousness, a fighting in terms of, like, let's say, social media to be seen. And so I wanted to bring this up because, again, we're going to move into some more of this energy, but I think it's helpful for us to know that there is a collective that we're going through in terms of, like, seeing this. And it's happening because we're trying to expose, yes, but also bring out those wounds, and bring them up from the depths, and allow them to be seen and see each other for who we are. um I think something that also supports this energy astrologically is the fact that Saturn's in Aquarius. And as you can see, Saturn's here at 20 degrees. Aquarius is that rebel, wants to be seen as different while also belonging. So it's not about everyone being the exact same, which is sort of that shadow side, the group think or culty energy, which can be very much Saturn and Aquarius. Instead, it's, I just want to be myself in and amongst a group of people who are also just themselves. But what's tricky is the wounded part of us is like, well, I didn't feel seen, and now I'm going to be like, I want to be like this and this. And there's that different energy, which is very Aries. So how can we bring this into our everyday lives? Number one, you're going to look inside your chart and see where this is for you, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, because the house placement and whatever is happening to Chiron in Aries in your chart is going to tell you how this could be affecting you. And then you're also going to maybe start to see, ooh, interesting. How do I notice this showing up in other people's lives? Social media is a great example of this. And none of us are excused from it unless you're, like, completely probably off grid. But of course, social media gives us validation, right? When we create something or when we do something. And if we're not mindful of our intentions, there can be a push, a I want to be seen over this person. And that happens a lot there. Not saying that anyone here does that, but it is you can just tell, like, do this to get this many followers, do this to get this. Like, it's very apparent in the social media world, content world. Um, and I see that quite a bit. Um, but it's checking the intention, right? So an example of how to use that on a higher frequency would be like, you know what, I really like this. Like, this is something I just want to post because I just like it, and this feels good to me. It's funny, or it reflects my personality, whatever the case may be. And you just post it without that intention of needing to seek validation. The wounded part wants the validation. That's the Chiron, because it wants to be seen, right? versus the Aries is just like, I'm just going to do it. And like, this is what I like. And this is what I want to do for me. I wanted to riff on today for Chiron and Aries. This one's kind of short and sweet, but I felt like it was very important to talk about because of a lot of the dynamics happening within our world. And so what I want to leave you guys with today is to check in your chart and see where Chiron is transiting through if I didn't pull it up for you. Have a little journal around this. Where do you feel like this is showing up for you? And also, where do you see this happening within the collective? And what do you think could help it, right? Like, what do you feel like that energy is asking of us? So yeah, just something to think about. That's Chiron in Aries, and it's happening within our collective. So it is quite prominent energy. As we move into May, Jupiter is going to move into Aries. And so it will exaggerate and expand those Chiron and Aries energies. So it can again like be very dominant in a sense. But it can also look like our wounds really trying to come out, right? Which I do think it's interesting to think about because I think that that's already been happening, but for it to be even more so, like this depth of healing is probably going to be even more than what we're seeing now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But basically, what I'm saying is that when Jupiter moves into Aries, just for a brief time, this for the part of this year, it'll show us a little indicator of what this might look like. And then in 2023, when it stays there, that'll be a big time for our Chiron and Aries collective to experience a large amount of healing around how we're being seen and in and of ourselves. And so, yeah, just something to keep in mind. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Definitely comment below and let me know what you want to hear next. And I will see you in next week's class. Bye.